Good afternoon. Welcome to both audience in the room as well as the online. My name is Tommy Ip, as Smart Wellness and Sustainability Program Manager. It is my pleasure today to introduce our speakers, Dr. Grace Ho. Grace holds a bachelor's and a PhD in environmental science from Hong Kong Polytechnic University, and also a master's degree from Delft University of Technology in Holland. She brings industrial experience from both Deloitte in 2023 to 2025, and also her current position at Hong Kong U Jockey Club Enterprise Sustainability Global Research Institute as a senior manager. Today she will give a talk entitled ESG 2036, Navigating the Next Decade of Responsible Growth ESG， 中文係 ESG 2036，引領下個10年，共創永續新格局。OK， 有請。
Thank you. Yeah, maybe I will so use the mic. Yeah.
Okay.
So, thank you everyone for coming to this open talk. Even the rain was like super heavy this morning. So, but still welcome the guests here and also the guests online. So for today's talk, the topic is ESG 2036. So which is that we don't really talk about ESG. And also we saw lots of ESG news for now, but we want to look at the visions and also look what we want to expect about ESG these topics. So I want to share some of my experience from my practical as a consultant in Deloitte, and also now as more like a from research and academia perspective from Hong Kong U. So first of all, I want to give everyone a broad pictures on what is the top risk now. So this is the survey done by World Economic Forum just last year, so which is the latest results. So you can see that for the short-term risk, given what we always saw in the news about the geopolitical issues and AI and all the social media things, so the top short-term risk is still like geo-economic conflicts, misinformation, societal polarization, etc. So that is what we can expect for now. But if we want to like extend the time frame and we look at what is a long-term risk, so you can see the top 3 risks are extreme weather events. Maybe we will see more and more this summer or in the coming summers. Also biodiversity loss and ecosystem collapse, and then critical change to Earth system. So basically the top risk in 10 years will be environment, technology, and social. So just imagine if you're like a CFO in a company. So if you look at the risk reports, or you're like talking to your investors, so what would be the risk you want to discuss? It may be some like financial risk. What will be the risk to your like supply chain stability, etc. But like imagine for CEO, usually the tenure is about 5 to 7 years. Do they still care about long-term risk? So some of the CEOs, CFO, they don't really care about that. But if you look at the companies, their long-term life, they should look at those long-term risks for sure. So here is another angle to look at the top risks in 10 years. So basically this survey is done with different stakeholders from civil society, international organization, academia, government, and private sectors. So all these different sector stakeholders, they all believe environment-related risk would be the top risk in 10 years. So that is set the things for today's talk. Yeah, okay. So for the evolution of ESG, I want to give everyone a big pictures on how ESG evolved from the past and also what we want to see in the 10 years. So from 2016 to 2019, so what we see more or we heard more is about CSR reports, or it's about the company, they're doing good, they're doing volunteering. You will always receive some email on like beach cleaning, or we do volunteering to plant the trees. So that's how people understand about social or like society, caring, or sustainability, right? But then from 2020 to 2023, we see more and more the trends on ESG, and the ESG ratings like somehow become the trends in the markets. Everyone started talking about, oh, I want our CDP rating to increase. I want to improve our MSCI's rating from like triple B to A or something like that. But then but we also see what happened in the US about the policy like put from Trump's, and also the backs in the EU about the regulation or compliance about CSRD, and also the IPCC's those requirements. So we see that actually these 2 years we do see a little bit down trends for the ESG, but that's more from the compliance side. But if we look at long term, we should look at the value creations. So ESG should not always, we talk about like compliance. We should like talk more about how we leverage sustainability to improve the resilience of the whole company, so that they can not only reduce the risk, but also have more opportunity to create values. So I will also give more examples in our coming sharing. So first of all, let's talk some about the climate reality. So the first definition is about climate. It's not about weather. So weather, when we talk about weather, it will be like, oh, today's weather is very hot. We see like the temperature suddenly got 5 degrees increase, or like next week it suddenly got like 10 degrees colder. But the climate, we talks more on long-term trends of our Earth. So like, you will see, oh, we want to control the Earth, the temperature increase under 1.5 degrees. We always heard about these numbers, right? But this 1.5 degrees is not only just like last week is hotter than 1 degree than this week, then the world will change or the world will collapse. It's more like long-term things. So first of all, what will the climate change really affects our life? So you will think, oh, maybe just climate change, the weather is getting hotter or the winter is getting colder. We have AC now, right? We just need to like turn up the temperature or turn down temperatures of the AC. But actually, it will affect the whole ecosystem. So first of all, the water availability and food production. Because of the extreme heat, sometimes, maybe I will just give some practical examples from my life. So I plant some lemon trees in my balcony, but these 2 years, I don't really see any flowers for my lemon trees. The reason why is because we don't really have the temperature for spring. So usually the temperature directly jump from winter to summer. So actually the plants in Hong Kong, sometimes they don't really have this buffer to feel like, oh, spring is coming. It's time for me to have some the blooming, and also have the bees to help me to grow some flowers and also the fruits. So that's what I see from like the food production. So this is only one small examples from our daily life. But if we expand that to the whole agricultures, then you may see like, for example, in South Africa, the cocoa beans is getting, the yields is getting like must decrease. So what will cause? It will cause like the price of the chocolates will increase a lot in the whole luxury business in the Europe. So that's what we can expect from the climate change. And the second one will be the health and well-beings. So I think it's quite obvious that during this extreme hot summers, those workers working outside in the construction site, so they will experience maybe they need extra heating allowance, or they need like extra protections or extra the break time, so that they don't really suffer from those extreme hot weathers. And like, or more about infrastructure, because of the overheat of the steel and also the concrete, it will affect the overall quality of the building, etc. Yeah, so that's just some examples, and I won't go into that all the details. But then back to why we want to look at ESG in 10 years. Is that we only care about environment, or we only talk at this from like a philanthropy, from like social, from those perspectives. But actually companies, sometimes they don't really talk about ESG from that angle. they really consider ESG actually is from the financial angles. So why we want to talk about that? So the first one is about what actually climate risk cost. So the first one will be the transition risk. So for example, the policy and regulation or the technology and development. For example, the policy. So I just watched some documentary this morning about for like in the UK. The government, they just relaxed a new tax called fertilizer tax in 2027. So which means that all the farmers will be affected by this new policy. If they're still using the very traditional fertilizer, they need to pay a huge amount of tax. And even like the farming business is already very difficult, even in the UK and all over the world. And then about physical risk, so we discussed it from like chronic risk and also acute risk. So acute risk is more like, okay, today it's super hot. It's like over 35 degrees. That's one of the acute risk. But for chronic risk, it's more like long-term, for example, the precipitation, the rainfall pattern change. So we foresee like some drought season in autumn and more heavy rainfall season in summer. So that's more like the long-term precipitation patterns. So what will be the cost? So for example, it will cost some from the micro stage, like the business, household, and also macro from the capital, those behaviors. And then the financial risk, it will be affect the credit risk, market risk. So I will give some examples. I won't just list out the concepts here. So for example, if you are working at insurance company, so my clients want to buy some insurance for some assets near the, like next to the sea, or they have some beach house, they want to buy those insurance. So what will be climate change affects your consideration on like giving this kind of insurance to them? Of course, you need to do lots of climate risk related projections on that so that you will decide whether I want to increase some insurance premium to that assets. So which means I will need to increase the insurance cost for that. So that will be a very simple examples on how climate risk would affect the financial performance. So here is more on like more tangible examples. The first one is like the energy price fluctuation and damage to fixed assets, like what I just explained, or what we always see every summer on the news, and the shortage in resources, and then the decline in labor productivity. So here is some the latest news I just saw from the Hong Kong Observatory website. So you can see this is the very hot days, the last decades. And this is the latest, the hottest day, the projections they will see. So you can see the very hot days actually increase almost 3 times. So that's not only about 1.5 degrees cause the things is about the AC, it's about the overall days of that. So you will see, or you may expect that. And this is the news we just saw from some social media in Hong Kong. So what will happen to Hong Kong if temperature rise 3 degrees if we do nothing about climate change? So, of course, the sea level will rise, and then the Harbor City and K11 Museum are just under the water. And then here also the Tema Park, as well as Wan Chai and all those government buildings were all under the water. So if we do nothing about the 3 degrees. So now why we also think like climate risk is a core financial variables. So for 2024, actually climate risk already cost 320 billions on the economic loss. And also it costs 14 times of business disruption. I will just give some examples. I won't show too much theories on that. So one of our previous clients, they have their production sites in Vietnam. So all the production sites they allocate there, like all those big electronic devices, you can imagine the big names there. The whole factories, they produce like the phone case, etc., to supply those big names. Like I won't name that. So because of the climate change, they're facing, for example, the AC is overloaded. So usually. And in Vietnam, the electronic supply is not that stable like Hong Kong. So what will they face? First one, electronic shutdown. It's not really like propel like Hong Kong. They will put a news say, oh, in 3 days we will have the electronic shutdown and anything like that. It's just like suddenly. So what will that mean? So all the products, which is like all like just finished or like in the production process, they cannot be used anymore because of this shutdown things. And also the equipment, because of this like sudden electric shutdown. So and if anyone like study electronic engineering or have like basic concepts on mechanical engineering, you will know this kind of shutdown will cause like lots of vital damage to the equipment, those very expensive equipment. And then what another financial cost? Because those big clients, they have very tight schedules. They ask their suppliers, oh, I need those products within 7 days. But because of those electricity shortage or shutdown, they cannot give that on time. So they will also have the penalties on that. So that's just already, you can imagine those very 3 big financial loss they may expect from that. And they will also facing like typhoon, flooding, etc. to those local sites. So if you add them together, it will cost like tons of more than like the economic loss for their on-site production sites. So this is just a map. So it's like hazard above thresholds. So usually for one site, it's always not only just suffer from one hazard like extreme heat or flooding. Usually some, especially for some like assets, it will suffer more than 2 or more than 3. So for example, like heat, flooding, it will come together. So which means that when they do the economic loss or the financial loss estimations, they always need to consider the whole pictures of that. So that's why they need to consider about the resilience of their supply chain or their production or their assets. So here it's not only about, oh, I want to change the lights to LED lights. I want to plant more trees. I want to organize more volunteer activities or to increase the awareness of my employees. Yeah, of course, that can help in long term. But for now, those companies, what they need to think is about, it's not how to prevent that, it's not how to survive still under this kind of extreme weather or extreme climates. So here we talk about adaptation. That's a new concept we keep talking about this 2 years. It's not only about climate change, it's about resilience. So some forward-thinking companies, they already start thinking like, it's not just a defensive necessity. It's about we need to adapt to the change and also think about this as a major driver of financial returns. So what they are doing is that, for example, from the flood and storm protections, so they can have some barriers, seawalls, also some like nature-based solutions for that. And also building and utility adaptations. They can change that utilities or those things to more like easy to adapt those sudden change. So for example, that clients, they increase the storage, the heights, like at least 30 centimeters. So that all those storage products would not be affected by the waters. And also they will install some like UPS system so that they can balance like the electricity fluctuations even under the sudden electronic shortage. So the second topics I want to highlight today is about the technology and also AI, how AI really affects the ESG trends in 10 years. This is also another very big topic. So everyone now is talking about AI. So how we can relate AI and ESG, and actually AI acts as a double edge for ESG or sustainability, these topics. So the first edge I want to share is more about the downside of the AI. Actually, so imagine AI, when we are using, we always buy lots of token for with ChatGPT or all different AI tools. So have you imagined that under that, actually we need lots of computing powers to support the AI. And where is the computing powers coming from? It's the data center. So for the data center, it's not only just about electricity. So for now, the electricity already is like mass amount of electricity we need to support the data center. Is equivalent to Japan's entire electricity consumptions, just for now. But it's also about water. So to run a data center, we also need to cool down the data center with cooling water. So which means that we also need a lot of water supply to make sure the data center can run like as a normal. So which means that, so electricity and water is like two key issues for AI now. So I show this map here. So you can see this is the yellow spot is the location of data center for now, and the blue color is about the countries or the regions with some water scarcity or water stress. So you can see that actually lots of data center locate near the northern part of China. So you can imagine like Beijing or northern part China, they always have, we heard they have like water shortage or water scarcity. And also like this part of like Inner Mongolia. And also, for example, like the whole India also face lots of water shortage, but they also locate lots of data center because lots of those big tech company from the US, they have their whole IT team. Now, most of already located in India. So that's why they also need lots of data center, although computing powers from India. But if they don't really manage the water stress issues and also the electricity consumption issues, this will also will stop the development of AI. But if we want to talk about the good side from the AI, actually AI can also help us a lot. So now we also want to talk about how we can use AI more responsibly. So for example, if you ask one question to AI, do you still need like follow up with 2 or 3 small questions to AI to let them to solve the same questions? Or you can just like leverage the resources you have already gathered, so you can like shorten the AI token that you may need to use. So that's just one examples about responsible using AIs. And there's also some other very practical from the ESG consultants level or like the enterprise level, how we can use AI to improve the overall the company's sustainability performance. So for example, like now, scope 3 emissions is always a headache for a company because scope 3 always like I need to engage lots of suppliers. I need to have better visibilities on what is the resources coming from, raw material coming from, what is the transportation of the suppliers, some of the material they give. So if we have AI, actually they can like predict or analyze all those very complex supply chain using AI to simplify that. And then the second one is also about the predictive maintenance about the energy waste. So for example, sometimes we always see we have like energy peak and also energy down during the day. So during daytime, we'll have like energy peak demand, and also during nighttime, we have energy down demand. So how we can use AI to actually balance needs. So for example, if you use EV car, you can charge during night, and what is the best timing of charging that? So AI will tell you, or which spot is the best spot to charge that. Also about climate risk modeling. So in this market, we have lots of climate risk modeling software, those SaaS company available. But if we have AI, actually those AI can already work together with those company. So you can just simply ask, oh, my assets at Admiralty, what will be the estimated climate risk or in 10 years? So you don't need to look at like each database using those very complex like GIS model or the satellite image models. You can leverage AI to understand that from like very basic levels. So that's just some examples of how we can leverage AI. So I think that's also one of the big changes we can look at in 10 years. And then, of course, the third topic is about we still need to build the trust with data. So for now, we also heard lots of like greenwashing and also some news about some big banks or some big companies, they withdraw their commitment on net zero. or they just step back because currently CSRD, they postpone all those requirements on sustainable supply chain requirements, or like the US, they have also like they pull back from their IPCC commitment. So still, but we need to have data driven to support all the sustainability storytelling. So we have 4 levels of that. So of course, the level 1 is what I just shared about 10 years ago. People are still using like CSR reports to tell the story to the markets about what is the good things our company has done. And the second one is more on the framework aligned. So we have GRI, TCFD, SASB adoption. So we always saw from the sustainability reports from the markets. So they just like tick the box. So, okay, GRI tell me I need to do 1, 2, 3, then I just disclose 1, 2, 3. And then the level 3 is more about regulatory compliance, like the CSR, the ISSB, because for example, they want to get IPO in Hong Kong, or they want to enter the Europe markets. Those clients or those company, they have certain requirements to comply with the ESG related requirements. But the level 4 is still about assured and integrated. So how can we make sure that the data you disclose is correct? And how can the investor or the market trust the data you disclose and can embed it that with the financial related data? So we need to assure all the ESG related data, so you can make sure that the data that you disclose is under the same standards we talk about the markets. And then the 4th topic is about the sustainability value creations. So we talk all about climate sustainability disclosures, physical risk, and resilience, but this is all about risk or how we should comply with this ESG development. But then if from like the company development angles, we need to also look at if I want to deploy some of the sustainability related strategies, what will be the value I could create for my company? That's another like totally different mindsets from a company angle. For example, if I'm like a like the executive levels from the company, I will, if I from like the previous mindset from the compliance level mindset, told sustainability issues were just related to CSO, the chief sustainability officer's work, or the sustainability head's work. It's their job to collect all the data or to publish the sustainability report. But if we from the sustainability value creation angles, then actually the whole company, they need to get involved, need to like think about from different perspectives, how the company's operation can actually have some value from the sustainability strategies. So I will give some case studies here. So the first one is about revenue growth. So Unilever's, maybe you all know some of the brand like Dove or Ben & Jerry, those kind of big brands, because they use this sustainability products. For example, they use like zero plastic. They use like 100% recycled plastic as one of their products. So what they can do, they can grow like 69% faster than the rest of the business and deliver actually 75% for the company growth, because now more and more consumers, they're also looking for green options for their like daily life. And then the second one is about cost reduction. So I'm not sure whether you have already saw this shoes from Nike. So they use a very groundbreaking technology called Fly Kits technology. So they don't really use like piece by piece and sew them together. They actually use the keys and to sew the whole shoes like this. So it's like a one-piece design. So how this technology can do, it can actually reduce the waste by 80%. And also can save lots of the raw material. And this design actually bring a new brand positions of Nike. Actually, this shoes is really hard to buy. So they actually have exist more than 1 billion sales for this shoes in sales with the above average profits. So which means that if we go like beyond just sustainability as a compliance, they think out of the box to use sustainability as part of the design, actually, it can be part of the cost reduction and also the revenue growth. And then the third one, I think is also quite practical, is the risk mitigation from Google. So how Google did is that they actually replaced their backup diesel generator for their data center, use battery-based systems. So yeah, you will think, oh, battery, it's just I can use renewable energy to power the data center, that's it. But actually, they can also use the battery to balance the fluctuation of the grid. So during the just mentioned for the grid, they also have some like the peak hour, also the down hours. They can store the energy during the down hours. So which means that it's not only just about shift to the carbon-free energy, but also like overall it can mitigate the power supply risk from that. So here is the structures of how sustainability is no longer about optional, actually it's profitable. So for example, like the price premium I just shared about the Dove and also those like our daily consumption, those products, and also the customer acquisitions. So for example, lots of people will go vegetarian today, or they will go green, or they will choose like paper straw, all those kind of green products. So more and more people, they're aware of this climate issues. And then the customer loyalty, product service innovation, like the Nike one, and carbon offset and inserts. And the second part will be the cost reduction. It's about operational efficiency. So I will also just give examples here. So for example, if we change the old, just use our lights as examples. We change the light from the traditional light to LED lights. It's not only just about the power saving or improve the energy efficiency. It's also about light quality. So you will see the LED lights actually can protect the kids' eyes. So lots of primary school or those university, they do this kind of change. And the raw material and waste disposal is about like some very big car brands. They now like recycle some like 80% of the material are from the old cars like BMW or Benz. So they all state that in their sustainability reports. And about the cost of capital, talent acquisition and retentions. So if you join a company, it's not only just about E, you also look at S and G. So you also look at how this company actually treats like gender equity, about how they treat, whether they have like transparency, payroll policy. That's also part of ESG. It's not only just about E. So that's also talk about talent acquisition and retention, and also tax and penalty, what I just shared about the UK fertility tax. And then the third part will be the risk mitigation. The first one is supply chain risk. I just shared about the case about Vietnam. That one is quite related to the supply chain risk. And the brand risk. So I won't name the exact name of the brand, but maybe you have already heard the news that it's quite a PR disaster for one of the luxury sportswear brands. They have some events held in Tibet. So, and that caused a quite big PR disaster for the biodiversity related issues. And then the third one would be the regulatory and public policy risk. I won't go into deep like the carbon tax, etc. And the shareholder risk and license to operate risk. So the license to operate, I think it's also quite common for mining company. So for example, in Africa, lots of gold-related mining company or diamond-related mining company is quite water-intensive. But they got lots of like against by the local community. It's not only just about benefits, about how they share the profits to local society. No, it's also about the local environments. And this will also delay the license for mining for those companies. And this will also cause risk. So if they want to make sure they can have a smooth operation around the world, so they also need to consider about the license to operate. So for the 4 actions, sustainability into a competitive advantage, I want to break that into 4 parts. So the first one is about build the business case using the value framework. So if you are, like, I'm not sure about the audience, like if you are one of the management level of the company, so if you look at the sustainability, it's not only just about the head of sustainability works. It's also you need to consider from like CFO's mindset or value creation mindset, just sit down and check like whether if I go ESG or if I go sustainability, can this create value to my own business train for now? And the second one is secure C-suite sponsorship and go enterprise-wide. So we always say that if we talk about sustainability, it's not only about working levels efforts. It's not only about how many stuff I organize to clean the beach. It's also sometimes about like top-down message. So it's about how C-suite or those like CEO levels, people or board level, how they treat these issues about like, it's not only just about compliance, how they also think about issues is quite related to the long-term risk and benefits of their own business. So that's also quite important. And then the third one is start where the ROI is fattest. I think that's also very important. So when we do some consulting works to the company, we're trying to help the team to convince the board level to say, oh, you need to do this green technology 1, 2, 3. But then always the big questions I got asked from the board is, what is the ROI of this technology? What is the return period of that? How long, if you say, oh, this can save the operation efficiency, it's like 10 years or 15 years, oh, I will just retire by then. So they will just say, okay, so let's start with some of the ROIs fattest. For example, let's from like the operation efficiency and fleet and energy project first. So why the energy price, actually the renewable energy price from Hong Kong, it's going down. So if you can see from the CLP and also from the Hong Kong Electric, their sustainability report, the emission factor you can see is actually going down year by year. And that's also caused the premium of using renewable energy for this company is also cheaper and cheaper. So that's why we want to start with RIs fastest. And then the fourth one is invest in supply chain traceability now. So why? The reason why we need to invest for like now is because for supply chain, it's always better that you diversify as much as you can for your supply chain so that you can have better resilience on that. But another thing is that we also need to make sure you understand what is the material coming from, what your supplier is working now, whether they have any risk, like they involve like child labors or they use any like very polluted material for your production, that will also cause potential risk for your business operation. So the first thing is that you need to understand your supplier more in future. So for 10 years outlook, the organizations, if we want to make decisions by today, is that what we need to do is that at ESG, it's not only just about financial discipline. It's not only just about, I need to invest a lot. They will only see the numbers. Oh, I invest like 2 million to 5 million to the ESG related efforts for my company. That's not only just about that. It's more like a long-term thinking, how those efforts you put now can reduce the risk for long-term. So also, the CFO and CEO must own this topic. It's not only just about CSO's efforts. And then the second one is about window of orderly transition is narrowing. How, maybe I will give like more layman's the explanations on that. So just look at the time window. We talk about, we want to achieve carbon neutrality in 2050 for Hong Kong and 2060 for whole China. And also, then we always talk about that like 5 years ago, but now it's like 2026. We're still talking about that. So the time window actually is narrowing. And we also talk about SDGs goals in 2030. So now we only got 4 years left. How's the progress going? So if we want to make sure that we can have those changes or achieve the targets set by the targets or by the company or individuals by the time we promise, it's better to start as early as possible. So you don't need to like shift everything within 5 years. That would be very difficult to find new suppliers, to find new locations, or to like redevelop the whole company development strategy. I think that would be very like disaster for a company's like strategy level. And then the third is trust is built through data, not narrative. So if a company keep like claiming that, oh, and we are carbon neutral. We have our net zero goal. Do you still trust that? Or do you think that can bring some trust to you? And I think that's the story, is that the company always need to disclose, like very detailedly, what's the data, what is this building, what is this asset, or what kind of investment portfolio they're looking at. So I think that's how the trust is built, is through data. And the fourth one is about the talent and technology are available. I want to give some promotions for Hong Kong youth-based efforts. Actually, we do lots of training on climate professions and also sustainability professions through the years. And also Hong Kong governments also have the pilot schemes, the funding schemes to support the development of ESG-related talents. And also the technology. The green technology is no longer, we thought it's like it's just a buzzword. So like hydrogen, battery, EV cars, those things, like back in 10 years, we thought it's impossible. But now you can see Teslas everywhere in Hong Kong. So technology are also available, and we can see more and more technology will grow. And responsible growth is the only durable growth. So if we only look at 5 years growth, 3 years growth plan, it's okay that we focus on finance first. But if we look at long term, we always need to consider how our next generation would be affected by the decision now. So I think that's the 5 parts. That's the outlook of 5 points I want to highlight for today. So that's I think that's most of my sharing. Thank you. Yeah. So I think you have.
I just.
Oh, okay.
Oh, got it. Anyway, before I move on to the program promotion, is there any question you would like to ask Grace? 廣東話都得，國語都得，英文都得。有冇問題咧？好，係。落咪先。
咁頭先我聽呢個ESG 嗰個內容啦，就對嗰個氣候啊，同埋即係嗰個即係finance 啊或者 business 嗰度有啲關聯咧。咁如果係咁嗰個方向咧，咁啊未來有咩 advice 咧？即係如果喺 ESG 從事 ESG 想投身 ESG 或者喺related 嘅行業，咁應該係有冇啲資格去考核嘅咧？即係可唔可以俾啲意見咧？唔該。
資格呢個 OK。So I will still use English to answer the questions so that most of the audience can understand. So if you want to get any qualifications or certificates, if you want to enter this ESG or sustainability this field, I think first of all, you need to understand what directions you want to achieve. So if you want to go to engineering firm to do more on green tech or resilience or nature-based solution related works, I think it's better that you can study more on engineering angles, those program. So I think like lots of university, they have offer very comprehensive programs on that. And if you want to go to like a company or enterprise on like sustainability officer or compliance or supply chain related, it's okay that you can, first of all, of course, take the Hong Kong U Space course to understand more on the overall concepts of climate or sustainability related issues. Or you can take CISCA, CESGA, and also like CFA ESG. But CFA ESG, I think they changed the name now to something like climate evaluation or climate risk evaluation name now. Or like if you want to focus more on climate risk related, you can go to the GRPSCR. It's about the climate risk related works. So I think that's quite common, several certificates now in the markets. Or if you want to go more niche to carbon related, like now still carbon markets related, you can go to like the carbon audit, those certificates like by ISO or so like or Shanghai, they have some course on how the carbon trading works among China and also overseas about mandatory carbon market, also voluntary carbon markets. So I think that's quite comprehensive for now. Yeah. So I think lots of options in the markets. Yeah.
Okay, please. Any question? If not, then I probably move on to my program promotion very quickly. We have two certificate for module program that we are partnered with Deloitte Advisory Hong Kong. These two courses probably started 5 years ago now. Definitely it was started during the time when we were still being in lockdown during the COVID era. So the first one is the certificate for module Sustainability Professional 證書單元可持續發展嘅專業嘅So the core function is learn about the ESG framework and standards, apply materiality and stakeholder engagement, and also build a business case for sustainability as well. So if you are interested to study this course, you can scan the QR code and you provide more information on that. This is a Hong Kong QF Level 6 program. So for all the Level 6 program, the minimum entry requirement is bachelor degrees. Also, and the course is taught in English as well. So you expect to participate activities and also perform project in English as well. So, but it is a very, very interactive program. I personally have been in charge there for the last 2 or 3 years, and it's very, very informative as well. And it's only 30 hours, so you assume the actual course will go very, very quickly. It's very, very informative. So this is the first program. Okay, the second program is Certificate for Module Climate Action Professional 證書單元氣候行動專業So this one is more focused on the climate issue that we have. So understanding climate risks and impacts, explore solutions for energy, cities, and industry, and also developing carbon management and climate action skills. So those are 3 core functions of this program. So again, for further detail, you can scan the QR code. Both of these programs are CEF funded as well. So upon meeting our attendance requirement, and if you pass all the exam or the homework, you can apply for the CEF grant to be reimbursed. Okay. So finally, our third, which is a new program, the name is Certificate for Module AI Competency for ESG Professional 證書單元 ESG 專業人員嘅人工智能技能This is a new program, so we really change our any professional, whether you work in bank, engineering, manufacturing, or even servicing, how to use AI to learn, and also most importantly, to make decisions using the AI technology to make decisions on ESG related area. Okay. So basically, we cover automated data collection, speed up reporting and checking, and identify risk and trend for decision making as well. So those are the 3 very core bullet points for this course to enable you to learn and how you actually use your learning in your particular ESG the ESG business of your particular industry. So those are the 3 courses we have at the moment. So if you would like to know more about it, please email me, or if you just scan the QR code, there's a contact email address. You can ask me any question. That same go with the online viewer as well. If you have any question on today's talk or any question you would like to know about the courses, just simply send us an email just by scanning the QR code, and there's a contact email address. So thank you very much for your time. Before we finish, we have a little ceremony to thank our speakers for today. We'll prepare a small souvenir and also a certificate for her participation.
Thank you. Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you, Tommy, for your invitation.